The views expressed on the Jerry Cahill CF podcast are that of Jerry Cahill and guests, and not necessarily those of the Boomer Esiason Foundation. Nothing on the Jerry Cahill CF podcast should be considered medical advice. Such advice can only be given by a physician who is experienced with cystic fibrosis. The Boomer Esiason Foundation, Jerry Cahill and guests cannot be held responsible for any damage which may result from using the information on this podcast without the permission of your medical doctor. You're watching Jerry Cahill's CF podcast presented by the Boomer Esiason Foundation and jerrycahill.com.
Welcome to Jerry Cahill's Living, Breathing, Succeeding podcast. This show, CF Spartan, Honoring the Loss of My Brother, was made possible through an unrestricted educational grant from Novartis to the Boomer Esiason Foundation. Today you will meet Chris Love, 26 years old, from New Jersey. Chris is a videographer, has been playing the guitar for over 11 years, and is passionate about doing Spartan races.
Hi, my name is Chris Love. I'm 26 years old. I'm from Wall, New Jersey. I was diagnosed with CF at birth.
Yeah.
My wish is I love all of you.
Growing up with CF wasn't too different than a normal childhood, I would imagine. I have an older brother who has CF, or had CF, and he pretty much paved the way. You know, everyone was kind of used to it by the time I came along.
Ready, Pat? Mm-hmm. You're gonna have a good time.
So my older brother is Patrick. He was 5 years older than me. He was a fun-loving guy. You couldn't hang out with him and not have a good time. We played sports together. We played video games together. We went to the doctor together. We shared the same room until I was 15. And when you look through pictures or anything, we're pretty much always hugging, high-fiving. When we got older, it was more teasing. And yeah, we were definitely best friends. It made it a lot easier to have someone to talk to and to, be able to go through it with. Pat's health originally started to decline when he was 14. He developed MRSA, and he was on home IVs for 9 to 10 months. And it eventually left his system, but at that point, I think that was a turning point for him. Up until that point, he took care of himself pretty well. And at that point, I think he realized his own mortality to a certain degree. And instead of rising to the occasion, he said, well, I took care of myself and this still happened, so kind of what's the point? He pretty much just stopped caring to a certain degree. Went out, made some stupid choices when he was a teenager, did some things that he probably shouldn't have done. When he was an adult, he went to college for about a year and then he came home. And then he went out, got a job, started working in construction, and it's not the healthiest of careers. Around a lot of dust and debris and everything. He never wore a mask or anything like that. And that was really the beginning of his downfall. At 26, I would say, he got home IVs and got a feeding tube because he couldn't eat anymore. And that was how he remained until he passed away 2 years later. We had gotten in a lot of fights toward the end. They were stupid. They were stupid arguments. I think it was definitely more that I had chosen a different path where I took care of myself and stuff, and I think it wasn't resentment, but he regretted not taking care of himself when it was the end. He saw me and saw what he could have been. And I think that he got mad at himself, but just took it out on me because we were best friends, and he knew that I wouldn't ever, leave him. So my sister and I both lived in Connecticut, and my mom had called us the morning before he passed away and said that we needed to come home. She knew that it was just about time. So we drove home, and when I got there, he was pretty incoherent. He really didn't speak too much. But then when they let me in the room just by myself, just the two of us, it wasn't really a conversation so much. It was mostly just us apologizing to each other. And it was good to have that kind of closure. That, he didn't pass away with us hating each other to a certain degree. It kind of kicks you in the ass in a way. You think about, wow, this person had the same thing I had. Now I really got to take care of myself. I don't want that to happen to me. And while I wish there was something I could have done for my brother, I want to honor him by extending my life as long as I can. So I started doing Spartan races to honor my brother's memory. I recruited what we call ourselves the CF Spartans, who consists of my girlfriend Victoria and my brother's best friend, Michael. I am most definitely a Spartan. Since 2014, I have done 15 Spartan races. I used to get out of breath pretty easily, but now, after doing the races and training for them for over 2 years, I feel like I'm really at a peak in my health. It's entirely a mental game. The sprints are more so just physical because they're shorter, but when you get into the super and the beast and then beyond that, it's not so much about your physical ability. You need to have the mindset that you can do it, because once you beat yourself mentally, then it doesn't matter how strong you are, you're going to fail. And as Jerry says, you cannot fail. So you got to stay mentally strong, which will enable you to not fail. I would just say to everyone who has CF that it is the most important thing to stay active and just, keep doing things. Don't stop taking care of yourself. Make sure you take your medicines and do what doctors say, and just stay active as much as possible, because it will help you live a more fulfilling life and just better overall. Equally, if not more important, is staying mentally strong with the disease, and you really have to keep looking for the reason to stay healthy, and that you want to extend your life and live it to the best of your ability, and that by giving up, which is what some people do, you're really only hurting yourself and people around you. So staying mentally tough is really the most key part, and what really is what makes people most successful with the disease. And I messed up.